Hi guys. Today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about estimating with percents. And the I can statement we're working on is I can estimate the percent of a number. So let's start by looking at some common percents as fractions. And I want you to put down each of these percents into your summary section because these percents are going to pop up really often and I want you to be familiar with them. And so I want you to have them in your WSQs for reference. So let's turn 50% into a fraction. Well, I know that means I have to put 50 over 100 and then simplify. And when I simplify it, no matter which way or which factor I choose to use to divide the numerator and denominator by, I'm going to keep going until I get 1/2. So 50% is the same as 1/2. Now let's look at 25%. 25% is 25 over 100. And when I simplify that, I will get 1/4. 33% is a little trickier because that's actually a rounded percent, and that's going to be round to be 1/3 because 0.333333333 is 1/3. So we're going to say 33% is about 1/3. And finally, 20%, which is 20 over 100, that's going to simplify to be 1/5. Now, I just want to, before we move on, talk a little bit about multiplying or taking a fourth of something or a half of something or a third of something. Okay? So if I wanted to take half of 10, so if I wanted half of 10, all of you could tell me that the answer is going to be 5. And what did you do in your head? You took 10 and you divided it by 2, which is the denominator of my fraction. What if I wanted to take a fourth of something? So the question would be, what is 1/4 of 20? Well, in your heads, you would be taking 20 and breaking it into 4 equal parts and taking one of those parts, which is all we're doing when we're multiplying by fractions, unit fractions. So in our heads, in my head, I would think 20 divided by 4, which is 5. So 1/4 of 20 is 5. So when I'm looking at unit fractions and I want to take a half or a fourth or a third or a fifth of something, I'm really just taking that number and dividing it by the denominator. So if I wanted to find 1/3 of 9, in my head, I would think 9 divided by 3, which would give me 3. If I wanted to take 1/5 of 20, in my head, I would think 20 divided by 5, and that's 4. So keep this concept in your head as we move on and talk about estimating with percents. So let's do it. If I wanted to find 50% of 30, or estimate 50% of 39, in my head I might not be able to divide 39 easily by 50%, which remember, 50% is the same as 1/2. Well, I might not be able to divide 39 in my head easily, but there's a number very close to 39 that I can divide in my head. Let's think of 40. 40 is really close to 39. So when I want to think what is half of 40, I'm going to actually, in my mind, take 40 and divide it by 2 to give me 20. So I could say 50% of 39 is about, and this little squiggly equal sign means about 20. So I've estimated. And notice when I estimate, I don't get the exact answer, but I'm going to get something pretty close. If I take 50 and divide it by 39, I'm going to get 19 and 5/10, which is really close to 20. Let's try another one. If I wanted to take 24% of 13, well, 24% wasn't on my list, but 24% is very close to 25%, so I can estimate. I know 25%, I'm looking at my list, is equivalent to 1/4 as a fraction. But that still doesn't help me because I don't know what 1/4 of 13 is. But I can estimate or take that 13 and change it to a number that's close to 13 that I can divide by 4. For example, I might think 1/4 of 12, because I know that 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I can say 24% of 13 is about 3. It's not exactly 3, but it's pretty close to it. Why don't you try one? Pause the video and try to estimate 19% of 31. And in the work section of your WSQ, where you are putting this problem, write the numbers you're going to use to estimate, not just the answer. Okay, let's see how you did. 19% isn't on our list, but it's really close to 20%, which is on my list. And 20% is 1/5. So now I have to think, what's a number really close to 30 that I can divide by 5? I'm sorry, 31. I gave away the answer. 30 is really close to 31, and it can be divided by 5. So in my head, I'm thinking, what is 30 divided by 5? It's 6. So 19% of 31 is about 6. Now it's your turn. For each of these problems in the work section of your WSQ, write the numbers you would use, then estimate the percent of each number. We are done with this video, so you can go back and watch any portion as many times as you want. But don't forget to show your work in the work section of your WSQ and ask a question. We are done now, so you can pause the video and do your work.